Halloween.
All right, guys. Where does a thrifty Dr. Frankenstein get his limbs from?
Thrifty Dr. Frankenstein get his limbs from.
Steve's taken to trying to figure out my jokes, by the way.
Yeah.
This is too good. You'll never get it. It's just fucking genius.
It's
That's
not. It's not Goodville.
No. No, it's fucking not Goodville, Steve.
Goodville.
The secondhand store. Come on. Welcome, boys and girls, to a very special spooky oogie minisode of Halloween is Forever. I'm Brian.
I'm Steve.
Hey, hold on a second. Who the handsome boy is over there? Who that dang old rock and roll boy over there? Is that Drew from Drew in the Blue?
That was Drew from Drew in the Blue.
Hey, Drew. Fancy meeting you here in podcast
Hey,
land.
fellas. Good to be here.
Yeah, thanks for joining us once again. Second time guest joining the second time the repeat guest club. We have our lovely friend Drew West from the dang old rock and roll get up over there, Drew in the Blue. Thanks for joining us. We're excited to have you on here on this here spooky season minisode.
Thanks for having me. I hope I don't file under the seasonal. I heard about how you talk about the seasonal folks on your show. So, I'm a little bit more than that. I'm here before September, I promise.
I knew you were year-round spooky boy. Yeah, we'll talk about all these dang old freeloaders jumping on here, listening to the podcast here in a dang second. But so we are here. We are in crunch time, guys. We are a week away from the big day, from Samhain, from All Hallows Eve. Hope you got your blood. Hope you got your semen. Hope you got all your sex magic ritual stuff ready to go, because we're getting ready to do some weird shit here in the week leading up to Halloween. But before we do that, we're gonna have some good old fashioned spooky monster fun with our friend Drew. We're gonna talk about Frankensteins. You guys know how I love a Frankenstein. You know how I love a Dracula, skeletons, love all that stuff. We're gonna talk about the original 1931 Frankenstein here today. Before we do that, we got a whole bunch of dang old spooky business we got to take care of at the top of the show. Like I said, this time of year especially, we get a whole shitload of new listeners. A bunch of freeloaders, bunch of just seasonal creeps hanging around there, farting around.
It is.
We appreciate you. We appreciate you coming on here, listening to some spooky stuff with us, talking spooky business. Now, if you're new to the show, here's how it goes. We do a little spooky content every Monday all year round, not just during spooky season. So go ahead and, like, subscribe, follow, whatever the thing on your old podcaster tells you to do. But the first Monday of every month, we do a showdown episode. Go listen to one of them showdown episodes, a little longer form craziness. We powerbomb each other. Somebody gets a DDT onto some tacks, that sort of thing. But this is called a minisode. It ain't that mini, but it's minier than the non-minisodes, where we talk about a movie and, we do a little horseplay, grab ass, and all that fun. Nobody gets powerbombed on this episode. But if you're interested in helping us out to choose topics, help us choose what the topics are for our showdown episode or any of those sorts of things, or maybe even got a suggestion for a minisode. Maybe you just like spooky ooky shit on the internet. Go over and follow us on all the social medias. It's at Halloween is Forever on Instagram, at Hall Forever on Twitter, whatever the hell it's called now. I always forget. X, the Twix.
Yeah, just call it Twitter.
Yeah.
It is called Twitter.
You go onto all those social medias, type in Halloween is Forever. It'll probably come up. It's a little pixelated pumpkin guy. If you like the show, like I said, you decide to subscribe. You want to give us a review, and you think, boy, howdy, it's the week before Halloween. I need a little bit of spooky business in my life. If you want to go on your podcatcher app, like your Apple Podcasts or your Spotify's or whatever, go on there, give us a little review. Give us a little 5 stars, 4 stars, whatever the maximum amount of stars are. Shoot us a DM on Instagram or Twitter and I'll send you some spooky shit in the mail. Week of Halloween. You want some spooky shit? You want some Halloween's Forever stickers? You want a dang old atomic fireball or everlasting gobstopper? Maybe I'll send you a temporary tattoo in the mail. Who knows? Could be anything.
Loose candy corn.
Ooh, hot, slightly melty, loose candy corn. Smells like my pocket. If you like that, if that'll get you in the spooky season, do that. We'll send you that some stuff in the mail if you give us one of them reviews. And I know probably right now you're sitting there. You're probably riding in your car, right? You're driving to work, whatever. And you're listening to this here podcast and you're thinking, hey, jabroni, I can't go on there and, rate you while I'm driving. Well, you're about to get to work. What is the first thing you're going to do when you get to work? You're going to go take a shit. Immediately going to go in, sit down, plop down, take a big old deuce. Go ahead, follow us, like us, give us a little 5-star review. It means a lot. Helps people find the podcast. Before we get into any of that other business we got to talk about and get into this here movie, I know, Drew, you got a beer. I saw one. I assume Steve's lurking around there with a beer somewhere. I got one.
I got beers.
Let's talk about some beers we might be drinking. Steve, why don't you lead us off on a beer?
I picked a beer specifically for this episode.
Yeah.
Because I was being a good boy.
Yeah.
And I got a beer from Three Floyds.
Okay. They do spooky stuff.
They do spooky stuff.
Yeah.
And so this one is called Munchterfest.
Oh, Munchterfest.
Munchterfest. It's their Oktoberfest style lager. Munchterfest.
Oh, okay. So it's like an angry German Oktoberfest kind of thing.
Yeah. There's no Frankensteins on this though.
Oh wow. Okay.
It appears to be
a little disappointed. Going to be honest, but
yeah, it appears to be a kaiju scene of a giant goblin in samurai armor fighting a ripoff Mechagodzilla. So that's okay. That's okay.
See, I love me some kaijus. You know I like some Godzillas and some big apes and Mothras and Ghidorah, all that nonsense. But when it's Halloween time, give me a Frankenstein. Give me a Dracula.
Yeah. Yeah.
Come on, guys.
But it's October. Right. This is Oktoberfest, not for Halloween time. It's Oktoberfest.
That's true.
So this is supposed to be September beer, not.
People forget that Oktoberfest is primarily in September. How is that thing drinking though overall?
Oh yeah, it's good. Like it's got a nice full body to it.
Yeah.
A little hoppy. Just ever so tinily a little bit hoppy.
Like excessively hoppy, like it's a little over the edge, or it's just barely hop.
No, I mean just barely.
Okay, I'm interested. Yeah. Oh, and I think Three Floyds, I think they usually go pretty aggressive on the hops, whether or not the style calls for it.
There's a little injection of Frankenstein in there because where it's brewed is Munster, Illinois. I mean,
that's true.
So I'm just, I mean, legally, I think he makes the cut. I'm just going to.
Well, I think it's Munster, Indiana, which is to say southern Chicago. Basically. Yeah, but Munster is like.
I knew it was one of the I states.
It's all Midwest. You don't have to worry too much about it.
Also, Munster, Indiana is basically like southern Chicago. Like it's right across the border. But yeah, there's some good. I like those guys. They're fun guys out there on at Three Floyds. So Drew, what do you got? What are you drinking on over there? Some big formidable dark beer.
It's funny. See, I too wanted to honor the movie that we're talking about. I went looking for the Mason Brewing Company. They make a Dankenstein.
Oh.
I went looking for it, and they also make a Bride of Dankenstein. I was gonna have both.
There you go.
They didn't have it at the local distributor. So what did I find? A Three Floyds variety pack.
Well, there you go.
I too am drinking. I'm not drinking the same as him. I have a backmasking oatmeal stout. It's a heavy boy.
Ooh. Oh, look at that.
And it looks like this. It's real dark. It's nice. Coca-Cola. And funny enough, it's kind of cool. I'll hold it up. I know the viewers won't see it, but there is a goat head figure with some hooded skull gentleman behind him, sort of a satanic maybe record party, as you can tell by the turntable.
Oh,
yeah, I thought, well, this is perfect. I mean,
we're getting into the heart of spooky season, and that's when you stop getting spoopy and you start worshiping the devil.
I'm just saying. It's for the kids, you know?
I mean, we just spent a whole episode talking about backmasking while we were talking about Trick or Treat. So, yeah.
It's all there. 1986 is Trick or Treat. Rock's Chosen Warrior What the hell's his name? I always forget. Sammy Kerr, Rock's Chosen Warrior. If you've not seen Trick or Treat from 1986, Drew, I feel like that's something you would very much appreciate.
So the one with the 2010 or whatever, was that the remake? Is that what that was?
No. It's that's Trick or Treat. This is Trick or Treat. There is also Trick or Treats. No, it's very confusing. There is a movie called Trick or Treat. There's a movie called Trick or Treat. There's a movie called Trick or Treats. There's also a movie just called Trick. There's a lot of they've used every incarnation of the phrase. So yeah, this is the 86 one. It's about like a satanic like hair metal, slightly gothic hair metal artist that dies in a satanic ritual and then comes back to I guess kill the world by playing his album backwards. It's pretty sick.
Yep.
Okay. This is news to me. I mean, also there's Trick and Treat, which is an album by Bloodshot Bill. It's an all Halloween album. It's a fantastic album. If you
I like the sound of that.
It's great. But anyways.
No. Hey, I love I love the recos. Always what we had a gentleman who is what was his first name? Last name was Weiner. What the heck was his first name?
David Weiner.
Dave. My God, I want to say Tom, and I knew that wasn't right. Dave Weiner, who is the director of In Search of Darkness, was on earlier this month, and he gave us all kind of good movie recos. I'm a big reco guy. I always
gotta listen to that one. Was that a video cast as well?
We do it on here, so our Patreon listeners come on and can watch us, record live. And I think Steve posted a little bit of the video content from the Patreon here from the old Discord server. But that one came out back on the 9th.
Yeah.
Okay. No, I saw the clip. I have to catch up. Honestly, I left off at. I'm gonna date myself, but we were talking about it was Dracula 3D, but it was the one after that.
Yeah.
Sure.
I forget. No, it's true. That's where I left off at.
Dracula 3D. I mean, that'll send you on it. You got to take a little bit of a break after that one, to be honest with you. That was a real piece of shit. Anyway, guys, nothing special. No secrets from your boy over here. I'm drinking. It makes sense for a return guest. Drinking the beer that I drink most frequently on this podcast, Pilsner Urquell. The recording studio here is the Crypt Urquell, of course, and I drink this beer all the time. And I see some people, they say, "Hey, why you always drink the same beer?" And then I refer you back to a policy that I've said. If I say it once, I said it 1,000 times. Go fuck yourself. This is a beer that I enjoy very, very much, and I drink all the time. And sometimes I look at all the other beers in my fridge and I go, "Nope, just going to drink Pilsner Urquell." So that's what your boy's jumping into today. Little Czech Lager boy. Speaking of Patreon, for those of you who are new to the podcast, maybe you're just rejoining us. Maybe you haven't listened since last spooky season. Who the hell knows? You should probably check out our Patreon at patreon.com/Halloween is forever. Steve, tell the boys and ghouls at home what kind of weird shit we got cooking over there on the Patreon.
You got to jump on that Patreon right now, especially spooky season. Because what we got going is
shippy tight on the Patreon.
Shit's always tight on Patreon. We got all kinds of extra things on there. So you jump on that Patreon. We got 2 tiers. We got the Scamps tier. That's your intro tier. Yep. It's all right. You get a couple 2-3 things on there.
It's all right.
It's all right. No,
it's fine. It's fine. It's better than a sharp stick in the eye.
Yeah. Look, this is back curtain marketing. Of I offer 1 tier. It's all right. But there's a so much better tier for only a little bit more.
But wait, there's more.
Why would you ever?
Yeah. You got to be a dang old idiot.
Yeah. But on that Scamps tier, you get all kinds of extra things. You can take a look at our 31 days of horror recos. We were just talking recos. I've been doing 31 days of recos. All kinds of recos up and down that damn thing.
Finger licking recos.
It's like a diet plan, this 31-day reco.
That's exactly what it is.
Yes.
Wow. So they get all that you're saying on the Patreon.
Yeah. It's 31 days of recos, and it'll fix your diet into turning your brain into mush full of horror films and just garbage.
Have you always wanted whacked out poo brains?
Yeah.
Get on over there to the Patreon. That'll straighten you out.
Do you want your brains as bad as Brian and I's? Follow our reco plan.
Yeah, that'll straighten you right out.
Yeah, you get the recos. You get episodes early. Sometimes you get ad-free episodes sometimes, and you get, like an extra vote in the polls, a couple 2-3 tings.
Mm-hmm.
But the real tier, what I want you to deny the scamps of is I want you to get on the rascal tier.
Oh yeah, you get on that nasty rascal tier.
Get on a nasty rascal tier, because nasty rascal tier, it gets you all that other stuff I just mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
But then you can come on the Discord like we talked about. You could be here right now watching us record early with Drew West talking about Drew in the Blue. You get to see what Drew's can look like. You can see another bottle of Pilsner Urquell.
You could zoom in and do some creeping and see what books are on Drew's shelf behind him.
Yeah.
If you really wanted to.
But the other thing you get on the rascal tier, you get that down and dirty extra monthly podcast, Family is Forever.
Boy, do I hate it.
Yes.
It's a bad time for me. Steve decided it would be a cool idea if he made me watch every single one of the Fast and the Furious movies. I never saw any of them. Steve thinks they're cool. I said, Steve, you're a rat fuck. And he said, no. You got to watch them. They're fun. Quit being an elitist asshole. Let's watch these movies. And then it was a jokey little thing that we do. And then fast forward a couple months. Now I'm watching once a month one of these goddamn Fast and the Furious forward. And now I got these piece of shit movies I got to watch every month. Then Steve starts lighting me into telling me everyone, he goes, this is the last one that sucks. The next one's good. So he keeps gaslighting me into watching more of them. I hate every single second of it. I have a couple times came very close to drinking bleach while watching these movies. And then I say to him, now I think it's devolving into a whole psyop situation where I'm pretty sure my friends, family, perhaps the federal government is manipulating me via the Fast and the Furious movies. I had a dream the other night that a giant wooden Dom Torino was being burned on my front lawn. I don't know what's happening. It's very it's unsettling. It's not fun and I don't like it. But the podcast is fun because the movies are so genuinely fucking terrible that talking about them is kind of fun.
So the visions of the NOS man have finally come for you.
Yeah, it's coming. And now we're getting into, so we did the Fast and the Furious, the first one. It's fucking trash. I knew that one was trash. Then we watched Too Fast, Too Furious. I hated it so much. It was one of the worst movies I ever saw. Paul Walker is the worst actor who ever lived. Then I see the third movie, Tokyo Drift, which for like 2 seconds seemed kind of okay. And then it went to total dog shit. Now I'm watching a movie called Fast & Furious, which is the fourth one. And then I think the next one is just called Fast and the Furious again. Or no, it's Fast 5.
It's Fast 5.
It's so bad. And you might ask yourself, why is a horror podcast talking about Fast and Furious movies? I don't fucking know. I've lost control of my life. That's why.
It's literally this meltdown of Brian's rant in which he just didn't breathe for the last couple minutes.
I hate it so much.
It's a meta horror is what I'm running.
I looked at myself in
my
the
computer
mirror.
didn't like it. The whole thing lagged. I mean, I heard like, and I just knew you were upset. That's all I got.
My brain lagged as well, to be honest with you. I look in the mirror and I don't know who I'm looking at anymore. Anyway, for $5 a month, and I want to reiterate, this is worth no amount of money to me. But if you want to make my death somehow worth it on a small scale, $5 a month will get you access to that over on the Patreon. It's Halloween. It's patreon.com/Halloween's Forever. So go ahead and support your boys over there with paper monies if you'd like to. Okay. Let's get into this dang old movie, right?
Yeah.
Right. But actually, before we do that, I think it's relevant because we were talking to Drew about coming on the old podcast again. And I said, what movie do you want to talk about? And then you said, we got something fun going on here with Drew in the Blue. So Drew in the Blue, we should talk about. I know we talked about in the last episode, but I love this I love you guys' band. I've seen you live multiple times. I listened to Drew in the Blue, the self-titled album, which was the second album, right?
Yeah, EP, and then that first album, technically, yeah.
Yeah, the first album I genuinely love as well, and I think it is one of the better named albums of all time. And I still chuckle every time I see the CD in my car. It's called Surfing on a Surfboard. which is it's just a fantastic album name. So you guys do a lot of I love this description, garage kept rock and roll madness, kind of surf rock, psychobilly, punkish type of stuff. Would that be a fair assessment?
I appreciate anything anybody says about us, to be honest.
Which is a nice way of saying kind of.
Yeah. It's so just saying rock and roll is like it's a safe and it's like, oh, okay, I understand rock and roll. It's like it just makes it quicker and easier for me.
Yeah. Do you like some of that dang old rock and roll music? Check them out. You're gonna like them.
It's like Motorhead. Like Lemmy always said, Motorhead wasn't metal. They were just super fast rock and roll. And, and then like he would go out and play with the guy from the Stray Cats.
The Headcat was that band.
Yeah, the Headcat. Yeah. Yeah, they did Headcat and they just did all the classic rock and roll as, just a little bit quicker and a little bit heavier, but it was like, it was just rock and roll.
Yeah. We just saw Taylor and I, the guitar player in Drew in the Blue. We just saw Brian Setzer. I would call him the Headcat. We just saw him in Jersey, actually, at the Count Basie Center. But yeah, man,
nice.
Oh, sweet. Yeah, that sounds fun. I've never seen him live, but I've always wanted to. I know my parents have went and saw like his Christmas show a lot of times, which and they always enjoy that. But in any case, so you guys have a very monster-centric little single that just came. Actually, you have a couple things coming out here in October, but this was the inspiration for talking about Frankenstein, the original Frankenstein movie from 1931. Was you guys just released on the 13th a single, which is a cover of Bobby Boris Pickett's The Monster Mash.
Yes.
But I think almost like you guys kind of went more Misfits version of it, right?
Yeah, everybody loves the Monster Mash. I mean, I haven't met a person who doesn't like the Monster Mash. So I don't know what happened first. I'm sure I heard the original first, and then in whatever time in middle school, 6th to 7th grade, learning who the Misfits were. Which to say, the original I heard first, and then I heard the Misfits version. It's like, oh, it's so good. But so I just wanted to do a spin on that and kind of keep it. I don't want to call it like nothing about it is like updated. It's just if Drew and the Blue is going to play the Monster Mash, that's what it sounds like. And funny, we've been playing that song since like 7th or 8th grade, which is crazy. I'm talking about grades. I know we're all somewhat grown adults here, but it's just like I remember being in middle school, Taylor, the guitar player in our band, having his parents would have a Halloween party, and they would even do like Fear Factor stuff. Like, what a throwback. They would have like you'd have to be blindfolded and eat like different weird things, like concoctions they made out of like crap in their fridge. And it was all this thing. And then they would have our band play, which was like, it wasn't Drew and the Blue. It was just like Drew, Taylor, and some friends. And we would play the Monster Mash even then. And it was a blast, but it's like, we talked about doing a cover for a while. We play some covers at our live shows and stuff, but never recorded. And it's like, well, now's the time, and it's the perfect time, especially with Friday the 13th happening in October.
I know. How often do you get a Friday the 13th in October? Somebody who knows about calendars would be able to answer that question. I can't. I'm going to say almost never.
Ever.
So why not release a dang old spooky track on that day? That's awesome. And then you guys have actually on Halloween, you got another single coming out too, right?
Yes. It's a song we wrote last year sometime called Cigarette, and it's much about I don't know about your growing up, but I feel like a lot of my friends and people I talk to, you sneak cigarettes from your parents, you sneak them from whoever, people aren't really smoking in school. This isn't like the 70s and 80s, but
not a lot of smoking in the boys' room going on anymore.
It's like romanticizing that is something, but I remember driving or being on the bus to high school in 9th grade, and then you see it was like Smoker's Corner. Did you guys have like right outside your high school, right off school grounds, everybody would smoke in like one spot or another? It was we definitely just had like a big up field behind the school, but definitely same vibes. It was always just a thing, and I'm really not a cigarette smoker. It's nice occasionally, it's nice socially and that kind of deal, and right, like like anything else, occasionally is good. But I don't know if I'm saying cigarettes are good. I guess I shouldn't say that legally, but
I mean, they're cool. Let's not
they're
fuck around.
cool,
Cigarettes
man.
are cool.
And that's one of the lines in the song. So you nailed
Let's
it.
not sugarcoat it. Cigarettes are cool.
So, and anyways, it's kind of a love letter to cigarettes, and that's coming out on Halloween, so that'll be cool. And we're really excited, man. We laid low for the first 6 months. This is like newsworthy. I am a married man now. That's what happened over break.
I saw that. I saw some pics of the honeymoon, and you're out there just gallivanting and jet setting, and just
it was nuts.
Just looking to have a good old time.
It was nuts. Yeah. So I got married in July, and not to derail too much here. And then Mandy, our bassist, she got married in August. I got home from our honeymoon. 2 days later, I'm in Mandy's wedding. She leaves for her honeymoon, gets home. The next day, we have our first gig back after 6 months. So, yeah, we ran things pretty tight. And I don't know, that's kind of how we do it, I guess, in Drew and the Blue.
Well, before we get into the movie, tell the folks, because like I said, if you don't go listen to if you're looking for something cool to listen to around Halloween time, you're building that Halloween party playlist. At least about 5 Drew and the Blue songs are on my Halloween playlist.
Thank you.
Where do the folks, before I forget and we end up at the end of the episode, where do the folks go check you guys out and download music and that sort of stuff?
Yeah, wherever you guys like your music best. I'm always on Spotify. That's my go-to, but we're on Apple Music, Amazon Music, iTunes, Spotify, basically all the heavy hitters. I haven't really uploaded stuff on Bandcamp. I really should. I know people use that. I just I don't know. It got.
I've heard people say it. It's kind of like TikTok. I've heard people say it.
Yeah,
and I know it's a thing, but I don't really know what it is.
It's good for artists. I mean, it treats artists a little better. It's just the range that the range of Bandcamp is. It's lesser than the other big streaming services, so
Sure.
But no, people can find it all over there. We're on all the we're on everything, all the, as you call them, social medias, Facebook, Instagram, and all that deal. But yeah, man, Drew and the Blue on all those things, and thanks for checking us out and giving us a listen.
Like I said, do yourself a favor. If you like rock and roll music, and who doesn't, you got to check them out. But in the spirit of the Monster Mash.
Yes.
What more iconic monster than a dang old Frankenstein? So we were talking about it. Drew was like, we should talk about the original Frankenstein movie, which we haven't talked about. We've talked about some of the other Universal monster movies and that sort of thing. I'm a huge fan. I have an alarming amount of freaking toys and models and pictures and all types of nonsense of the original Universal monsters. I'm always eager to, this is only a little over an hour movie and everyone knows it, so we won't get into every single aspect of the plot. We'll go through some of our favorite scenes and that sort of stuff, but I'm always intrigued to hear, because my list has changed over the years, and being just a big monster nerd, Universal monster nerd especially, I always eager to hear what people's favorites are. Maybe what's the first one you watched, what your favorite, maybe if you had a favorite as a kid, and what your favorite Universal monster flick is now. Yeah, I'll start just because it's my question, and then I'll give you guys a setup, give you guys a sec to think about it instead of completely putting you on the spot. When I was a kid, Frankenstein was my number one with a bullet. And I have an embarrassing amount of Frankenstein like toys and things like that. I'm looking at my freaking Play School Big Frank over there sitting on my shelf as well. I love Frankenstein. That was the first one I remember watching. I remember watching it at my grandparents' house after Trick or Treat. Like, Trick or Treat is over. We're counting our stash, sitting on the floor, dumping out our candy and sorting it, watching Frankenstein. I remember kind of rediscovering the Universal Monster movies when I was in high school, watching them. There was a coffee shop, in a nearby town that would play them because they're, they're free to play, right? They're public domain. Not all of them. I think most of them are at this point are public domain, or some of them at least are public domain. They would play them there, and you could sit around, drink coffee, and socialize and watch monster movies. And then, actually, not coincidentally, the first of them that I watched with my daughters was took them to the Strand in Zelienople, which is out near where we live in Pittsburgh, and watched Frankenstein. I think over time, I became a bigger fan of the creature. For whatever reason, the look of the creature from the Black Lagoon really kind of took over is kind of the aesthetic that I guess came to prefer when I was a little older. And then probably in recent years, I have really come to appreciate The Invisible Man. And if I had to pick one that's like my favorite now, it might be The Invisible Man. But Frankenstein's got to be, he's always near the top of the list. I mean, there's not a more iconic monster, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's I think to answer your question, my earliest memory for the Universal ones was my grandfather, who I remember always watching Frankenstein with him. And the other big one that I remember watching was The Wolfman with Lon Chaney Jr. And so, like, I don't know which one was first anymore. He's not around to tell me, but I remember, I only remember him telling me, like, you would get so scared. He would say, you would get so scared. I'm like, really? Watch, because like when the monster starts to move, apparently that would scare me. With now watching it, like, I can see the scare in it, but it's not scary, obviously, compared to today's whatever. But I think if it wasn't Frankenstein, it was Werewolf. I remember both of those, like, real crystal clear. And just that was another piece, man. It's like, oddly enough, Frankenstein's one of the first ones I saw, and both grandfathers, mom and dad's side, were always showing me, on my mom's side, he would always have them like recorded off the TV when they had like the double like VCR things.
Oh yeah,
sure. We'd record them off the TV, and it's like, all right, cool, we're watching like a bootleg VHS. And then my grandfather on the other side, whenever they would watch me, the treat was we go to McDonald's and we go to Hollywood Videos, which doesn't exist anymore. And
oh, hell yeah,
I was allowed to rent anything. And it's like, okay, you're a 7-8-year-old kid. I don't know. And then I'm just picking horror movies because it was fun,
Yeah.
Yeah. One of the last Hollywood Videos that just closed, believe it or not, like 2 years ago, was right near my house. And they mostly survived selling CBD and shirts, t-shirts. I actually bought them. I actually have a Hollywood, or no. I'm sorry. I'm getting family video.
Yeah.
I'm thinking a family video, not Hollywood Video. Sorry. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Right.
I think Hollywood even went under before Blockbuster did. Yeah.
Did it? Yeah. I was definitely thinking of family video, not Hollywood Video.
Yeah. Family Video clung to life.
Yeah. Just surviving on CBD and yeah.
Whatever. My earliest one was The Creature, but that was mainly because I didn't get into Universal Monsters first. I got into Kaiju and Godzilla first.
Yeah.
So like The Creature was kind of the closest one to Godzilla in a way. Because I mean, they both come out the water. He's a dang old lizard.
Yeah. Let's not talk about. I'm not a biologist. He's a dang old lizard. I don't care how you cut it.
Yeah, I mean they're both amphibious and they both attack the women. So
yeah. And they growl at them.
Yeah, it's just like one's like way extra big. But so yeah, my first one was definitely The Creature. But then like, it's turned into The Invisible Man simply because, like, both The Invisible Man and like its sequels are also like technically adventurous for the time. And I just think that's like the most impressive of like the earliest forms of, what we know now as green screen happens in those films. So it's just like, they're so technically adventurous, like, not to put down anything about the makeup effects that you get in like Frankenstein and the Wolfman, because those are all, also stellar and like far beyond their time for, I think what people would imagine. But yeah.
Yeah. I always just like the Invisible Man I've come to enjoy because he's the most evil. Like he's straight up absolutely off his fucking rocker, evil mass murderer. Like he's just scary in that way. Like Frankenstein, obviously we'll talk about it and stuff. Everybody knows this, not spoiling a 100 or 90 some year old movie, but he's a very sympathetic character, the monster. Dracula, you could even suggest, it's his nature, that sort of thing. The Wolfman, the whole thing is kind of a big, curse that he got put on. But the Invisible Man figured it out, did it to himself, then went mad with power and was just like, I can't wait to murder.
Yeah.
Like that was his whole thing.
I can't wait to throw a train off the tracks. This is going to be hilarious and nobody can stop me.
Yeah, and Claude Rains is just so unhinged in his voice adaptation in that one, or his voice acting in that one. But in any case, I'm always interested to hear where people started with those and that sort of stuff. But
Yeah.
Have you guys ever? I did years and years ago, probably when I was in middle school or in high school. I read, Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, the novel, and then recently I actually got a hold of a very old copy from probably the 40s or 50s. That was actually my grandfather's, but I'm like scared to read it because it's not in great condition, so I don't really want to mess with it. It's a hardcover.
Yeah.
But have you guys read the novel?
Never.
Oh yeah,
no.
for sure.
Man, I should have done my homework before this, but
No. Listen, we're not asking guests to read books before they get on the podcast. That would be a heck of an ask. No, but I'm just curious because I hadn't read it in a long time, and but I've watched the movie a dozen times between now and then, and I completely, like, in all the times I've watched the movie, I completely forgot, or just it's been too long, and it just marijuana destroyed these memories, but. He's not Victor Frankenstein in the movie. And as many times as I saw that, I know his name's Henry. Just in my mind, it's Victor Frankenstein.
But then there is the other Victor.
Yeah,
there is Victor, but it's
yeah.
right.
But his friend is Victor. And then in the movie, in the novel, it's Victor Frankenstein, and his friend is Henry. So they kind of switched that for whatever reason. Just I don't know if that was I'm curious to learn whether that was some sort of like legal thing they did, or if it was just to make things confusing. And
what if it's just a big mistake? Like they legitimately forgot, and like, oh, it's too late. It's out. Oh.
They're like, it takes too long to print more scripts. Yeah.
They take a bunch of liberties in the film though, because they completely eliminate all the Arctic stuff. They eliminate they change the ending as far as I remember. I think the novel ends with the monster catching up to Victor on the ship and killing him on the ship in the Arctic, right?
Yeah, and he doesn't. And in this movie, or in the movie, he again, spoiler alert for a 90-plus-year-old movie, but he survives. Henry,
right.
and his name's Henry in the movie, he does survive. Same thing with his wife. His wife is attacked in the book on their wedding night and is killed. And in this movie, or in the movie, she's not killed.
Yeah.
Also, interestingly enough. And I do remember this one thing that always stuck out to me, because I remember, having seen the movie first, being very familiar with, something that's been in the zeitgeist since the 30s. You see a lot of, I'd obviously seen Young Frankenstein from, with Gene Wilder and everything from the 70s. And then I'd seen, I remember watching the Tiny Toons, their take on Frankenstein and all this stuff. So it's something that's been parodied a million times. And I had kind of forgotten that there is no, first of all, Igor, which is, if you said, who's Igor, and most people who have some tertiary understanding of the concept of Frankenstein, just in a pop culture sense, would say, hey, that's Dr. Frankenstein's, assistant, right? Little hunchback guy. That's Igor. First of all, in the movie, it's Fritz, not Igor. And then there isn't even an assistant in the book.
There's no assistant in the book. It's Fritz in this movie, and then later movies there is an Igor, but it's played by Bela Lugosi. But he's not a hunchback. He's just like a busted up dude. And
I really think that it was Young Frankenstein that I think cemented that in the zeitgeist more than anything.
I think so. It's either Young Frankenstein or maybe even like the Looney Tunes. And I, for some reason in my mind, so everybody has kind of like their image of like who is the quintessential or the quintessential like version of these monsters. And so like Karloff is obviously the monster. Bela Lugosi we always think of as Dracula, and
sure,
Fry we think of as Renfield. For some reason, I had it in my mind that Peter Lorre at some point was like the quintessential Igor.
Yeah, well, he's so short too. It feels like it would make sense. Yeah.
And I think it's because of like some sort of Looney Tunes thing burned my brain. and Peter of like they must have done like a take on Igor being Peter Lorre with the yes master.
Well, I think it's literally it was like Tiny Toons. I think really like they did, because every Warner Brothers cartoon for about 30 years, if there was a spooky element, whether it was actually based on a Dracula or reanimated corpse or whatever, they would either do a Boris Karloff impression, a Bela Lugosi impression, or a Peter Lorre impression. There was just that. Those were stock impressions in the Warner Brother catalog.
Right.
So.
I have to think.
And then of course the monster serials too. They they didn't help.
Was Looney Tunes what? So I'm trying to picture what year, because if you have Monster Mash the song, that's 62, which I bet was after. But you have the lyric, when you go tell him Igor sent you. And that's in there. So it's in like the 62 like zeitgeist of horror.
Right.
So what a weird, wow, we could do an episode on Igor and the whole whatever, the whole not etymology, but the history of him.
Right. Yeah. Where does it finally get cemented as, you know, just firmly as a hunchback? Because like Fritz is a hunchback and he's kind of wild-eyed, because that's just the way Fry does his acting, because he's wild-eyed as Renfield as well. But like, like Looney Tunes has existed obviously since the 40s. So I think, and if they're making Peter Lorre references, I think it also has to predate the Monster Mash song as well. So
yeah, because I think it was called Oh My Monsters. That was the one that was in color that everybody knew, because there was an early Warner Brothers / Looney Tunes cartoon called like Hollywood Monsters or something, it looks like, from 1935, which is really, really early. But Oh My Monsters was, I think, the one that we kind of were probably thinking of, where it had the whole, like, I think it was Bugs Bunny as Victor Frankenstein and all that sort of thing. I'm trying to look up what the year that was. Yeah, I feel like we need.
There's another cartoon that I'm also remembering where I think it was some sort of cabaret act, and I forget, it might have also been Bugs Bunny, but he was doing a cabaret act for just a room full of monsters, and so like, and that's where you got the impression.
Oh yes,
yeah. Because he would go up and like interact with the monster, and you would get the impression back. But yeah, I wanted to jump into almost like the first opening of this movie, because it was something Drew said earlier about how like the movie's not scary, like it's not scary by any means for us right now, and the movie itself betrays all ability to like become immersed, because it starts with a guy coming out saying like, the producer of the film wanted everybody to know that he thought everybody should know this is a scary film, and so if you're if you get the flutters and the vapors, it's time for you to leave. And
it's Marge Simpson comes out at the beginning.
Right. That's probably exactly where Treehouse of Horror took it from.
Yes.
But I was watching it, and have you guys seen the meme online where it's like a picture of a triple stack hamburger that's covered in nacho cheese, and like the caption is, "This would absolutely kill an 18th century child." Like, you seen that meme going around?
No.
It's just like taking like the modern horrors that we have and like reframing it, of like thinking about like trying to explain the internet to people in the past, or trying to or trying to get like a kid with tuberculosis to eat a Doritos Locos taco, and how his body just couldn't handle it.
He would just explode. His head would just melt into goo.
So I was just thinking about that meme while watching this opening, because you have like this warning of this film that's not scary, and it's like, could you imagine taking Dead Alive or Terrifier 2 back to that crowd, and they would just
or Ernest Scared Stupid, like just
they would think it's real. It looks too real. I mean,
they would just be they would just be tearing their faces off and vomiting their assholes, like.
Even I mean, honestly,
it would just be literally an entire audience full of corpses as soon as the movie started.
The most morbid piece in all of Frankenstein happens fairly early when he hangs Fritz, You know, because when the door opens, you just it's. I'm saying it's more because like you see, I'm jumping ahead, but you see him, you know, murder the girl accidentally. You see him murder others not accidentally. The doctor, the professor from the college. But when it's Fritz, obviously Fritz had it coming, dude. He's just antagonizing. But that's the most morbid thing, where you hear the scream, you hear a man dying. You're knowing a person is dying, and then by the time he gets down, it's Fritz is done. Other than that, it's not. I don't know if scary has not ever entered my mouth without, you know, it never came out of my mouth.
No, it's atmospheric. I think is the great thing about it. Is like, you know, whether it's the opening scene with the whole grave robbing, and cutting down the hangman and all that stuff, and they're looking for body parts. It's just kind of like morbid and atmospheric, and really those types of scenes, I think, along with obviously some of like the castle scenes and the traveling to the castle scenes from Dracula. And then honestly, I really think about the Wolfman and some of those like fog covered creepy woods, you know, set pieces from that movie. Like those three things really set the visual standard for what creepy, just what movie creepiness should be, you know, for the next freaking 100 years. So, yeah, I always interested in that scene that you mentioned, Drew, because why is Fritz being such a dick to the monster? He was there the whole time. He was helping him build the monster. Yeah. And then as soon as the monster comes to life, I always took it as he was jealous because he was like Victor, you know, or Henry. He was Frankenstein's like confidant or you know, assistant, certainly, but like, you know, he was the only one who kind of knew the secret of what he was trying to accomplish. And then they succeed, and they just dick to the monster.
Even I was watching with my wife. She's like, "Why is he being mean to him?" I was like, "I don't know. I have no idea."
So I have a theory on this, and there's like part of kind of my one big criticism of the film is like there's a lot of missing time, because even after. Even when like Fritz is being attacked and you have Dr. Frankenstein and Dr. Walden, they're, you know, up together, and Frankenstein's like, oh, Fritz, he's harassing the monster again. Like it's but this is only the first time we've seen it happen. He says it in a way as if Fritz has been doing it for months. So, but
this is a problem. Like we have Fritz on a performance plan. He's got to get this straightened out.
Get it together. But I think the reason why Fritz does this is because he's so close to Frankenstein, and then with the monster coming to life, he's almost like a jealous older sibling.
Yeah.
And there's also just there's a weird moment in before Frankenstein reanimates the monster when Victor, the other doctor, and Elizabeth come to the castle, and they're trying to pull him away from the monster and everything. And they're telling him he's insane. And Frankenstein backs himself up against the table and he says, "You know what? You'll all see. You'll all see. You say I'm crazy. Well, it's one crazy man against 3 sane spectators."
Yeah. Doesn't include Fritz.
But Fritz is also in the room. And it's like, he just gets no acknowledgement. He's neither. He is neither a spectator nor a helper nor nothing. He is non-acknowledgement. He is the help. He is.
Is the exclusion because he's
persona non grata?
Is that the exclusion? I mean, because I guess he didn't include him at all. But it's like 3 sane individuals, and it's like obviously not Fritz. But I don't. Yeah.
Yeah, he just excludes them completely. Just like because he could have said 2 crazy men versus 3 sane spectators, but no.
No, Fritz is like a chair.
Yeah,
he gets a roughly the rank of like a toaster. Yeah. So maybe, I mean, that probably explains. I mean, that's a good point. That probably explains his resentment towards the monster.
Yeah. So but it's just like there's not enough of those scenes to really build that as a true like motivation. There's just not enough of it. Because like even when Fritz first introduces the fire, Frankenstein's like, "Hey, get that away from him." But then immediately he comes right back with it and is like shoving it in the monster's face.
Yeah.
It's like, he just told you go away. What are you doing?
Yeah. It's hard to find good help. Mad Scientist.
Yeah.
Even
I feel like that was a Looney Tunes joke that was said in some other context.
Mhm.
it's so forward when the professor's like, then he asked us that he told us that the cadavers weren't good enough and we needed fresher ones. It's like, are you asking the college to get you fresh dead bodies? Like, it was just so forward. And then to keep going down the list of help, it's like, you get Fritz. That's the guy you get if you need dead body. Like, I guess, yeah. Well, you said hard to find good help. But who's gonna sign up for that?
He's dead. You need a dead body guy, and also the hunch. I mean, that's like it's a perfect vessel for carrying dead bodies.
Yeah. He's got a strong shoulder.
Right. You only need one body at a time.
Yeah.
I actually kind of didn't make the connection. Like, I knew Dwight Fry is Fritz and he is Renfield in Dracula. But I, for whatever reason, didn't make the connection. The guy who plays Dr. Walden, I forgot to write his name down, is Van Helsing.
Oh, okay.
In Dracula. Yeah, I just completely didn't make that connection. I mean, he looks exactly like him. It's like, it's bizarre that I never made that connection. I just feel like every person over the age of like 50 looked exactly like that guy in the movies in the 30s. But
Is the intro guy the same, right?
Yeah, the guy who, not the intro. Was it? No, the intro guy.
Different guy? I'm confusing him. I'm conflating because I feel like the intro guy was in another. He had to be in another role.
It is Dr. Waldman. Yeah.
Okay.
Edward Von Sloan.
Okay.
Yeah, same guy.
It's just two different hairstyles. It was super close, but you know.
I think you're right. I think he just had his hair. He just had his hair done up a little different, but yeah, same guy. The guy who really steals the show, obviously, in this is Colin Clive as Henry, as Dr. Frankenstein. He just sets a lot of the tone for what a raving lunatic mad scientist should act like. Not only in his enthusiasm when his things go well, when the monster is resurrected, but also in his like blind arrogance, which is certainly a theme or trope that becomes really prevalent with any and all mad scientists moving forward. But yeah, Henry's just super nuts. Obviously the iconic line, like if you would have asked me as a kid, like what are the most iconic lines from the Universal Monster movies, I would have said like, it's alive, Henry, screaming and carrying on. And, the one that doesn't exist, which is I want to suck your blood, which is the thing that everyone says about Dracula, but it was of course not in any movie.
Which Dr. Frankenstein's famous line was my text tone for a while. It's alive, which I forgot. I didn't remember that, but it must have been my thing for like a whole year or something. Because Kevin, one of my buddies, was just like, yeah, your freaking text tone. Like, I got so sick of hearing it, which implies I also have my phone on loud at points in my life. I don't ever recall that, but okay.
Well, back then, it's like, how are you going to show your cool?
That's a great
text
point.
Or your cool ringer
if
you don't have it on? Because I had for a long time. It just, as soon as it just jumped right in, as soon as it rang, it just went, this shit is bananas, Bananas. And everyone would be like, shut that the fuck off. I'm going to murder you. And I thought that was
Gwen's
very funny.
great, man. I don't blame you.
Yeah.
I just had a fucking metal breakdown of drums.
Yeah, I bet
just
you did.
blast beats.
Fucking dork. Yeah, I had freaking jock jams on there for some reason. But anyway, weird, I think of like the one thing that sticks in a lot of people's minds in all these Universal Monster movies is the first time the monster appears, right? With Dracula, you get you get him up on the carriage, his face is kind of covered, but you get the eyes, and the sting, the music sting with his eyes and all that. Of course, the creature, you get the claw, but then eventually the first time you see the whole body is crazy. Same with the Wolfman, the transformation. This one I always struck me as effective, but weird, because you get this like weird like cuts and like zooming in cuts to his face, which is so strange.
Well, I think even weirder than that is it's cool because it starts with his footsteps. You hear his footsteps down the hall, and that's cool.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But what's weird is he walks in backwards through the door.
Yeah.
Yeah, he like moonwalks in. It's very weird.
Implying that he doesn't know, but his brain, it's abnormal, but he knows forward. Like, did he go backwards up the whole stairs? I don't know.
Right, yeah, exactly. Because now you have this image of him walking around the castle backwards.
Which is creepier, honestly.
It's creepier,
Even
but
when you talked about the footsteps, this was remember when this was something my grandfather told me, but it was always like they had facts about. I don't know if it was AMC, like they would always have like the host, like Elvira before Elvira, you know.
Yeah.
So the guy, I guess this was one of those facts, but they put weights in Boris Karloff's boots.
Oh yeah.
To help his gait, you know, to make it look more monster-esque or whatever you want to say. But so it's kind of fun because it adds to the. I imagine there wasn't too much Foleying back then. Maybe I'm way wrong, but like I want to think that's real heavy-weighted feet clompering, you know, around. You know?
Oh yeah. And the other thing it serves is it's in this first scene when he comes through the door is you can see how his posture is fucking weird. Like his posture is so leaned forward. And it's literally Donald Trump's posture when Trump is standing. Yeah, because Trump has this weird list where he is like always falling forward.
Yeah, like pigeon-esque, like always. Yeah, like a bird. Yeah,
like Frankenstein has Donald Trump posture, but it's because he has those weights in his shoes. Like Michael Jackson used to have his shoes nailed down to the stage.
He'd clip into parts.
He clipped in, right? Yeah, so he can. Like all that extra weight in his shoes would let him, you know, kind of lean forward.
Yeah.
And gives it that weird, I
didn't even think about that part. That's wow. On a second watch, it'll be even more notable. Yeah, it's strange.
Yeah, it's most notable in this first introductory scene. After that, he gets like more ambulatory. So I think maybe they took the weights out. Like when he climbs through the window with Elizabeth, he's like doing, he's like coming in like with full on parkour, but then has to remember, oh yeah, monster pose.
Yeah, I have actually my doubts whether this was actually a reality, because you know, something this far back, you hear all these old adages and rumors that get carried on throughout the years. I mean, this sounds plausible, but James Whale, who's the director, I guess originally Boris Karloff, before Boris Karloff was attached to Bela Lugosi, was going to play the monster. Obviously, he was already a big star from Dracula and all this stuff. But then I guess James Whale saw Karloff in like a crime film. I don't remember the name of it. And thought, you know, he has a really unique look, and with some prosthetics and, you know, some makeup, we could make him look, you know, kind of that uncanny valley weirdness of like, hey, this is a piece together human. So ultimately, it was James Whale's decision to cast Karloff. But I often think about how strange it would be, entirely different. You know, it's not like the monster has you know, any lines or anything like that. It's, you know, purely a physical performance. But oftentimes imagine how strange it would have been to see Bela Lugosi as the monster, because he doesn't, to me at least, feel as, they did a great job of making him feel physically imposing, even though Boris Karloff isn't necessarily physically imposing. Like Lon Chaney Jr. would have been a great, I mean, he's huge. He's a very, very large man, especially for that time. But when you see Karloff in like The Mummy, he's pretty scrawny guy.
Slim dude.
Yeah. But they do a great job of making him
tagging on to that.
imposing.
I think, I don't know if I'm wrong. I don't know if you guys know the backstory. I always thought it wasn't initially supposed to be Karloff. I didn't know. Maybe I did know it was Bella, or supposed to be. But I heard there was a story of the actor who was supposed to be Frankenstein monster didn't want his face covered in so much makeup because he thought it would shroud him too much of like his stardom, like his, you know, moneymaker. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's the story I heard from that. I don't know.
Yeah, I wonder if that story was of Bela Lugosi, because, you know, he was obviously a, you know, the attention that he gave to Dracula, because Dracula before the Universal Dracula was not this suave, handsome sexy-ish guy.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like if you obviously, Bram Stoker's version of it, and even, the movie, Nosferatu, which was essentially an unlicensed, movie adaptation of the novel. And even wasn't there like a German one too that I'm thinking of as well? That was, Nosferatu was German,
Yeah.
but there was another incarnation of it that made him look very creaturey like Dracula does. And
Are you talking?
Bela Lugosi was.
Are you talking more recent? Because Werner Herzog's was the one that had Klaus Kinski.
No,
Okay.
back.
All right, never mind.
No, back in like the 20s, like silent film. But in any case, Bela Lugosi was the one who first kind of brought the more like debonair Dracula to the party. So I wouldn't be surprised to learn that he had some objections to being portrayed as more, grotesque.
I mean, he's an Italian guy, man. Where it's that suave, sort of well groomed, slick back. It's like I get it.
Where is he from? Where is Bela Lugosi from? I can't remember.
Moldova.
Yeah. No, I don't think. Yeah, I wonder where. I should know.
Am
that.
I wrong?
He's from.
Maybe I swear he's
Italian. Oh, I don't know.
Hungarian
Is he Italian?
actor.
I thought he was
I'm
like
way off, dude.
Hungarian
I'm
or
way
something.
off.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he definitely has the. I mean, Lugosi feels like it could pass for Italian.
I just assumed that's so
Sounds
dumb.
like an Italian
No, but
name.
it says here. I just quick Googled it. Yeah, he was. Oh wow. Well, it says Hungarian, but it says from Romania. Even more fitting.
Oh, there you go.
Huh.
Yeah, he had the pedigree.
See,
right?
see, that's what he did. His name was all kinds of crazy Hungarian, and he changed it to Italian.
I was going to say Bela Lugosi because I remember
looking
him
at that.
being like more Eastern European, and I couldn't remember if it was Hungarian or what. But that name is not Hungarian.
Yeah, so I guess
that
that's-
name sounds Italian.
Maybe it was in vogue to be Italian at that time. I don't know.
Yeah, sure, sure. I mean,
Yeah.
it's better. It's better than being Hungarian. I can say that I'm Hungarian.
Hey, what are you gonna? Yeah,
Anything's better than being Hungarian. That's what I always say.
poor Hungarian.
I'm also part Hungarian.
I'm not. My buddy
anyway.
just got back from Romania though. He had a good time over there. He said it was all right.
Really?
He was at. I'm sorry. This is
Budapest.
interjecting quick. He my other band, the Har Nazi. I know you know, but he was literally just at. He was in Transylvania, so it's kind of crazy. We'll
Nice.
talk about Dracula.
That is
Yeah.
awesome. I have been the farthest east I've been is Budapest, and that was an amazing
I've been.
city.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My sister studied out there for
Lot-
a semester, and we went and visited. It's very like, it was great. It's also so strange, just darker. There's like a darker cloud over
There's
there.
definitely a gothic feel to it compared to, we were in Vienna one day and the next day we went to Budapest. And we're like, it's a different vibe over
Yeah,
here. For sure.
Pretty
but-
sure one of those
you know.
crazy bone churches is in Hungary. So
Yeah,
yeah,
that sounds right. I mean, there was a lot of it. Budapest, I think, as a city, a lot of it was very bombed out during World War II. So I think, I don't think a lot, compared to some other cities, it wasn't as destroyed. But kind of, going towards, flash forward towards closer to the end of the flick. So definitely some things about the end of the movie I'm not super crazy about, but overall love the ending. It was, easily one of the most memorable, set pieces / models in horror history with the windmill. I've got way too much, toys and dumb ceramic bullshit of the windmill set from that. But, he obviously, the monster escapes we talked about, accidentally, which is kind of a darkly comedic scene, in retrospect, where he throws the little girl into the pond because he thinks she's going to float,
Right.
like the flowers that she's throwing in. But ultimately accidentally murders a child as one does. And then, is kind of on the run, and Henry, in his, the moral of the story here is, one, obviously Henry, he's going to get his comeuppance because, one, he's been very vocal about the idea of him, playing God and all that stuff. But also he's got the, I guess, kind of hubris to think that he can control this monster as well, which is a very different thing from the book. Because in the book, he's just like, nah, dog, and just like releases it into the wild kind of thing.
Well, it's at first he thinks he can control it in the film. But then, after it kills Fritz, he very much just gives up on it. Like he
does kind of just let it bail.
And so in the end, it's the monster running amok. And again, this is where I feel like the film is missing. It needs 10, 15 minutes more, another scene or something. But like another scene of it interacting with the villagers and killing somebody else, or like mistaking, almost killing somebody. Because all you have is Victor running into the room and being like, Henry, the monster, it killed Dr. Walden. And then a bunch of other people saw it causing a ruckus. We got to do something, but you don't see the ruckus. It's all shit that's happened off camera.
Yeah, it knocked over a big stack of Pringles at the grocery store. Everyone's real mad about it.
I mean, so Dr. Sorry, what was his name? Not Frankenstein.
Walden,
yeah.
Yeah.
He's going to cut him open. He's going to experiment on him. And
yeah, he wants to dissect him.
So I don't even know if he got to pricking him with the knife yet or not, but that's why Frankenstein. Also, what I'm thinking about is when Frankenstein kills him with strangulation, in the same way Fritz went out by getting hung. It's like whatever's in his mind, he knows enough to know I just have to grab the neck and the rest is, it's like with the girl, it does seem so innocent where he just wants her to float and I don't know. It's weird. It's a weird happening. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's they're trying to slam it into a, hour and 10-minute runtime, I guess, which is tough. I mean, that's tight. I mean, all these, the earlier Universal monster movies are right around an hour, which is tough, but, so ultimately, Henry gets launched off the burning windmill.
Is this film's first yeet?
Perhaps.
No,
there's no way.
Is this the first yeet film?
Somebody has to have gotten yeeted prior to this, but this is definitely one of the earliest and most notable yeets.
Okay, so all right, so it's probably horror's first yeet. But
I'm trying to think if I can.
But when you consider Buster Keaton and Charlie Chaplin, there's no way they weren't getting yeeted around. I swear I saw a Buster Keaton clip not too long ago. He got yeeted out of a bathhouse or some shit. So
and also Lon Chaney Sr. in Phantom of the Opera technically self-yeets himself off the bridge into the water, right?
I ain't counting self-yeets.
All right, fine.
That's a jump.
All right, fine.
This is a full-on yeet because it's a shitty dummy that just goes off the rail and hits the windmill and then falls to the ground
on the way down. Yeah. There's nothing more brutal and also slapstick funnier than somebody hitting something on the way down in a fall.
Yeah. So good.
And then he survives, which pisses me off. That it was very annoying that he survives. And then of course you're meant to think that the monster, perishes in the fire, when everything kind of collapses and burns and all that stuff. And then, as is the case with many of these early, especially the early Universal monster movies, they end fairly unceremoniously. It's just and credits. Everybody's dead. Have fun. Get your popcorn.
It was so hard to digest. I mean, because what was the sense of they had all the maids come together and run down so giddy over Dr. Frankenstein and wanting to bring him wine. I don't know if they were excited he was still alive or what they're excited about. And the father just coming out the patriarch of the Frankenstein family, Frankenstein, right?
Yeah, Baron Frankenstein.
Baron von Frankenstein.
Baron, right? Yeah. Baron. He was, right. And it's just, Man, when the credits rolled, I was like, whoa. Like,
It seems like there should have been 5 to 10 more minutes. Yeah.
anything at all. I
Yeah.
can't remember the endings of the other Universals though, because the count or the minutes is all similar, but I can't remember. Like, I know. Yeah, do they all end so abruptly?
Not all of them, but quite a few of them do. For sure. That is definitely they were, quick and dirty endings back then. So I'm trying to go through my head and remember if any of them were a little bit more dragged out. I guess like the climax of the Invisible Man is a little bit earlier, and then they eventually, chase him down and stuff. But that ends pretty. It's not that they all end as anticlimactic as that with the bed at the end, but like, I mean, with the Invisible Man, he becomes visible, when he dies. So that's kind of the last little shock thing before the credits roll. But yeah, a lot of them end kind of abruptly.
I mean, Lon Chaney, right? He catches a silver bullet and then he becomes visible as human Lon Chaney,
Yeah.
and then. So that was, I don't know if you want to call it abrupt. I mean, he was killed. It's kind of the same way American Werewolf in London. It's like he was killed. He's the guy. And
then it's the guy. And then it's like all the final few sentiments happen all within about 6 seconds.
Yeah,
He's dead.
yeah.
We're sad. Wait, it's him. Bye.
Yeah.
Like, it just all kind of ends real quick. You got everything you need, which frankly, if there's probably plenty of movies nowadays would benefit from ending a little bit more gracefully like that. But, I have come to realize, and this was not one that was as on my radar as even some of the other movies that we talked about tonight when I was a kid, but I have come to appreciate and frankly probably prefer Bride of Frankenstein in recent years to this movie. I don't know how you guys how high are you on Bride of Frankenstein? I personally think it's a better movie, but I have mixed feelings about the idea of I guess two things. One, Frankenstein, making a friend and all that stuff, and the more like heartwarming, it just felt like there should be like little animated Disney birds flying outside at some moment, and I'm like, hey, this isn't as like gothic and foreboding as I would like my Universal monster movie to be. So that I have mixed feelings about that. Overall, it's still really great. And the fact that Elsa Lancaster, who plays the bride, you think of that as such an iconic image in classic horror, but she's only on screen for like something. I don't remember exactly. It's like 20 seconds. It's like so incredibly abrupt, or maybe like a minute or something like that. So she's really her feature, her actual on-screen time is really abrupt as the Bride of Frankenstein. But it's, I guess, also a testament to her performance and the creature design that she is so iconic and only on screen for such a short amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
Still so pretty.
And she's a remarkably attractive person as well.
I just had to throw it in there. It's just like, it's crazy underneath all the makeup and stuff. Like, who Boris Karloff is, and he's just like somewhat prunish lips and face of like, and then
he looks kind of like a shrunken head, but if you had the features of a shrunken head but made it really big,
I feel like also a lot how hip with the the eyeliner, like the Egyptian eyeliner style that you see a lot of ladies do, or they were not anymore, I guess, but like. Mm-hmm. That was done on her in a little bit, like just the hint of it, and for some reason that just jumped out to be like, oh, it's sort of a modern look at this on accident, like, or it came back around,
it ended up being, ultimately looking back on it, feels more contemporary, than it was probably.
I'll just say it, dude. She's hot. Whatever, man. I'll say it.
Oh yeah, she's one of those people that if you saw her walking down the street, you'd be like, that doesn't seem like a real person. Like, you know what I mean? It's like just too attractive to be a real person. But
well, she's not. She's parts,
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I don't break kayfabe. I mean, even when it comes to monsters, I don't care. So any final thoughts on Frankensteins, our beloved Frankensteins from 1931?
Like maybe the police can go around showing this film as a reason why we don't have mob justice, because that mob didn't try to take the monster like in any form, and then they just burned down an entire small business, and like good luck having bread for the next month, dickheads.
Yeah, have fun grinding your flour by hand, you fucking noobs. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Listen, and if we've said it once on this podcast, we've said it 1,000 times. We are anti-mob justice. Pro-vigilante.
Yeah.
Anti-mob
Right.
Don't do it as a
justice.
mob.
Right.
Don't do it as a mob.
You elect one vigilante
You're right.
and see if they
I
do
like
a good
that.
job.
Yeah.
I like the runtime. Like with all said and done of Frankenstein, if it gives you very much like now you equate it to how you ingest all the media, and it's always maybe it's an hour episode of your favorite show or whatever. Wednesday is popular, and you're watching a 45-minute thing. You know, that's the way I'm looking at like Universal in a way where I don't mind the hour 10 run. You know, and it's like,
Oh, I much prefer it to the fucking Fast and the Furious movies that are 2 hours and 50 minutes. Every single one of them are 2:47, some bullshit, or not 2:47, hour 47. But approaching 2 hours, I'm like, fuck this noise. Oh,
it's just fun.
so
I don't
much.
know. It's fun to get in and out, and like the point comes across. I don't know. Frankenstein's not a perfect movie. I don't think anybody's lobbying for that. It's just it was nice. That's all. I don't know.
It gets its point across. It has like a lot of effective shots. You mentioned earlier how you think like the Fritz getting hanged is like the most morbid scene, and like it's a striking visual to just open a door up onto a hanged person. But I think when the villager is walking his dead daughter through the town, that's like one of the like that. It almost feels like it doesn't belong in this film. It's so wrenching, because
kind of heart wrenching. Yeah.
Because like you see, it's a long one shot of just tracking the villager and the daughter. It's perfectly framed, so you don't see the daughter's face. So she's almost never smiling on camera or being doofy. You know, she isn't betraying the image.
Dead person role.
Yeah. And then you just watch everybody in the background, because it's in the middle of this, wedding celebration. Everybody in the background goes from whatever dick off fun thing they were doing to just like being completely horrified, and then like joining in the parade. And so it's like
Good point.
You could take that out of Frankenstein and almost put it in any other film, and it would just be, like terrible. Like just like terribly heart-wrenching.
It does seem a little bit more intense than pretty much any other scene in any other Universal monster movie.
Right.
Maybe with the exception of the Invisible Man derailing a train and then a newspaper spiraling that's like 250 dead or whatever the hell it is. Like that always seems out of place for me.
Like
it's like,
that's the most
Jesus Christ, he just killed 250 people.
Yeah, like that's the most that's the most catastrophic.
And they're like, what a cad.
Yeah. That's the most catastrophic, but this one is just like the most like brutal.
Just morose. Yeah.
Got to
Good
teach your
Lord.
kids to swim, man. I guess.
That's what I was
fuck
saying.
her.
That's the moral of the story. Swim
just saying.
lessons.
Yeah, I
Swim
mean,
lessons.
Yeah, all in all, fuck her. Like, how is she that old, living that close to water, and she doesn't know how to swim?
Well, that too. I mean,
Back
I don't
then,
know.
that was a basic survival thing.
Literally,
Get your shit
literally,
together.
she doesn't have anything else to do. She doesn't have TV. She probably can't read. So just like go swim, stupid. Ugh.
Yeah.
As far as I'm concerned, Frankenstein kills Fritz because he was antagonized.
Mhm.
Kills the doc because he was about to cut him open with a scalpel.
Right.
That both no foul, no whatever.
Yeah, no
and then
harm,
the
no
girl
foul.
was accident.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so as far as I'm concerned, he's not bad yet. He's
Yeah.
not a bad guy.
He's pretty. Yeah.
That villager was
I've-
fucking lying. He just came in and said somebody murdered her. He
He's
didn't see it happen.
murdered.
He didn't see it happen though. Fucking liar.
I know.
Piece of shit. What an asshole. I wish more villagers died in this movie. God, I hate villagers. Anyway.
Fucking peasant brains.
I am so anti-villager. I fucking hate them. Anyway, guys, that was Frankenstein from 1931. It's spooky season, guys. Go check it out if you haven't. Sorry we spoiled a 92-year-old movie, but you had a fair chance. You had your chance. Once again, let me remind you, if you haven't already, I don't know how many damn times we have to tell you. Pause your damn phone, right? Or put the podcast on the background, whatever the hell you're doing. Go download. Go to the YouTube, go to the Spotify, whatever. Find Drew in the Blue, add him to your Halloween playlist. Or we didn't even mention Horror Knots as well. You got 2 spooky bands.
It's a band. It's more or less, we don't have live shows, but there is new music coming out for that. We'll have one last final EP. We did 3 EPs, all 6 songs, so 666, ha ha ha. And so there will be one final album. We did release a single in September. So yeah, all around, I'm lucky to be surrounded by just the horror ethos. It's just a fun time, man. But I appreciate it. Yeah, Monster Mash coming out Friday the 13th. It's already out if you're listening to this right now, and you should definitely get the top tier Patreon. For Halloween is Forever. Everyone's talking about it. That's a fact.
All the kids on the street. It's hot on the streets. That's what all the kids are talking about. They're in their baggy pants and talking about patreon.com/Halloween is Forever. All right, Drew, as always, absolute pleasure to have you. Thanks for tolerating us here and talking about spooky movies with us. Love having you on the show. You're always welcome. Steve, anything else I forgot?
Thank you, Brian. Thank you, Steve.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. Yeah. I got 2 quick things. One, I appreciate that the cycle has come back around to now we're getting more Frankenstein kind of remakes and reimaginings. So one to check out right now on Shudder is The Angry Black Girl and Her Monster. You
told me about this. I haven't watched it yet.
It's a good urban adaptation. And then also later in the year, Yorgos Lanthimos.
How do I know that name?
He directed Killing of the Sacred Deer, The Lobster.
Love that movie.
Yeah, he has a movie coming out called Poor Things, which is an adaptation, but it stars Emma Stone as the monster, and I believe Willem Dafoe as the doctor. And but also just the visuals look just out of control. It's visually insane. It looks like Willy Wonka Frankenstein.
Well, I love that he's getting a big budget to do this because Killing a Sacred Deer is one of my favorite indie horror films of the last few years.
Yeah, you guys brought that up a few times. I got to watch this.
It's so bizarre, but you'll love it.
Not in this podcast, but I've heard it in other podcasts. Yeah. Your guys, you keep Killing of a Sacred Deer. Yeah, I never saw it.
Yeah,
check that out.
Okay.
And then just for the listeners, we started the episode. The first thing you heard was Drew and the Blues version of the Monster Mash, and as we go out, you'll hear the new song "Cigarette." So just so the audience knows what they're listening to, and they can
you folks.
Jump on board and then go on to Spotify's and find the full songs.
Yeah, so hang around after the goodbyes and listen to some dang old rock and roll music. Also, never forget that Robert De Niro played Frankenstein's monster in 1994, and he doesn't want people to know about that, but you should, and you should go watch it. It's actually kind of entertaining and fucking bizarre.
I think it's one of the more accurate to the book portrayals.
It is,
but it's so weird.
Also, pretty underaged SNES game. I'm just gonna say.
Oh yeah,
or maybe it was Genesis.
I can't remember. I think it was SNES.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll come back. We'll do a Frankenstein adaptation every time. It'll be a new, a new segment or something.
Eventually, we'll be doing Tiny Toons and all that stuff as well. So
I'm down.
All right. That being said, for the Halloween is Forever crew, I'm Brian.
I'm Steven Stein.
And this is Drew West. Thanks for having me on the podcast, fellas.
Yeah, as always, thanks for joining us, and see you around. Spooky Ookies, bye.
Bye.
Smoking cigarettes, hanging out at school. Smoking cigarettes while you're hanging out at school. Hanging with your friends with nothing to do. Smoking cigarettes while you're skipping out on school. Cigarettes are cool.